Footsteps rustled through the rotting leaves as Jack Torin, a Special Forces soldier, made his way through the dense forest that had never been marked on any map. His original mission was to scout, but a sudden magnetic storm had disrupted his navigation equipment, forcing him to take shelter and find an escape route on instinct. As night fell, a faint light shone from behind a steep cliff. Curious, Jack approached, parting the moss-covered vines, and suddenly discovered a crack just wide enough to squeeze through. Behind it was a passageway that led deep underground. He entered, his flashlight illuminating the cold metal walls. The air was filled with the smell of ozone, and a strange rumbling sound echoed from somewhere deep inside. When he reached the main chamber, he was stunned. A series of technological devices beyond human comprehension, transparent tanks with strange creatures floating around, and a central console displaying symbols in a language that did not belong to any system he had ever seen. Suddenly, the main screen lit up. A recording began, in a voice unfamiliar but translated. Phase 3. Experiment complete. Earth sample shows greater adaptability than expected. Next phase. Bioassimilation. Jack stepped back, his heart pounding. This was not an abandoned place. It was still active, and he had just activated something. Jack took a few steps back, his grip tightening on the rifle, which was on the highest safety setting. Under the flickering lights, alien symbols scrolled across the screen, accompanied by a strange clicking sound from the hidden doors at the back of the room. A swoosh sounded. One of the chambers began to open, a cold mist billowing from within. Jack raised his gun, holding his breath. A tall, thin creature with metallic gray skin and large, transparent eyes slowly stepped out. It didn't attack, didn't scream. It just looked at him, silently, then tilted its head as if scanning data. The central screen changed. A map appeared, but not Earth as Jack knew it. It was a map of the planet divided into sectors with countless red dots. One of the red dots was blinking, matching his current coordinates. Below the map, a line of text appeared. Contact point 17 has been activated. Termination is not possible. Jack realized this was not a research station. This was one of the entry points, and it had been waiting for centuries to open. Suddenly, drones slid down from the ceiling. Sensors pointed straight at him. Warning lights turned red. The security system had identified him as an unidentified intruder. Jack activated his armor's temporary stealth mode and dashed out of the control room. A long corridor opened before him, with a series of rooms sealed with biolocks, but one of them was slightly open. He ducked inside. The room was filled with digital documents, photos, video recordings, DNA simulations, and most notably, a video recording of the process of abducting living beings from Earth, experimenting on them, and genetically modifying them. At the end of the video, Jack froze. A soldier wearing the same uniform as him, bearing his own unit markings, but his face had been partially transformed, his eyes gleaming silver like the alien from earlier. "This isn't an invasion. This is forced evolution," Jack whispered, before the lights in the room went out, and a deep roar sounded behind him. Jack spun around, gun raised in the darkness, but it was too late. A blue beam of light shot straight into his chest, paralyzing his entire body. He collapsed, consciousness fading, just in time to see the gray creature approach and place a hand on his forehead. Darkness. Jack woke up in a transparent chamber. The air was thick, as if some liquid was being released to keep him in a semi-conscious state. Across from him, through the glass, were a group of aliens manipulating something with hologram data. Their every move was precise, cold, emotionless. A screen lit up in front of him. Not a video this time, but images from his medical records, brain scans, genetic codes, classified military tests. A recording played, Jack Torin, the only successful hybrid. Bioassimilation rate, 97%. Self-awakening has begun. Jack panicked. It can't be. I'm human. I can't be one of them. At that moment, his hand shook. A thin electric light flashed under his skin. His heart beat faster. It didn't hurt, but it was strange. He felt more alert, his senses turned on to maximum. The creatures didn't speak, but Jack felt they were listening to his thoughts. One creature stepped forward. Unlike the others, it was taller, wearing a silver cloak and a strange symbol on its forehead. It seemed to be the commander. It opened its mouth, but the voice echoed in Jack's mind. You are no longer fully human. You are the bridge. We have not come to destroy, but to normalize life. The earth is rotting. You are the last resort. And if I refuse, Jack replied, his thoughts challenging, then humanity will self-destruct, and you will be replaced. The chamber opened. Jack stepped out, his eyes meeting countless human clones. Other Jacks in tanks, not yet complete. Now he had to decide, fight them as a human, or pretend to cooperate to learn more even. Use his new powers to change the game. And somewhere, at other points of contact on Earth, other portals were beginning to open. Jack slowly walked out of the lab, the strange feeling growing stronger. He couldn't deny the changes in his body, the increased strength, the increased agility, the ability to sense his surroundings as if he were looking through a transparent glass. But that was just the outer shell. In his mind, doubts and fears were growing. He couldn't let them fool him. There was definitely a dark secret behind this forced evolution. If he wasn't careful, he would become one of those cold creatures, a man no longer himself, a machine that carried out orders. But now, he had little choice. A voice rang in his head, as if the commanding being had been watching him all the time. You will be trained. You will serve us. But you must understand, life on Earth is on the brink of extinction. Only we can save it. Jack nodded, pretending to understand, but deep down, he knew he was playing a risky game. If he didn't cooperate, death would be the inevitable outcome. But if he accepted, there might be a chance to turn things around. In a special training chamber, Jack faced harsh physical and intellectual challenges, all designed to optimize his abilities with alien technology. Each test pushed him to the limits of his body and mind, but he never once fell for them. Each training exercise was an opportunity for him to gather information, to learn how to use the new powers he possessed. One day, during a training session, he was taken into a dark room where there was no technology. The door closed, leaving only the sound of his breathing and a dark figure in the corner. The shadow moved towards him at a terrifying speed, but Jack reacted in time. He swung his arm up and created a stream of energy from his own body, knocking his opponent to the ground. When the light returned, he saw his enemy, an alien creature, identical to the ones he had seen, but transformed, its body split in two, oozing strange fluids. You have become a weapon, the voice in Jack's head said. You are learning to control it. But do you want it or not? Every choice has a price. Jack stood still, conflicted. He felt the power radiating from his body, not just part of himself, but part of a larger plan he could not fully understand. Part of him wanted to resist, but part of him was tempted by this new power. I am not your weapon, Jack thought, but the answer was swallowed up in the darkness of temptation. He looked toward the doors leading outside. If he continued down this path, he would not be able to turn back. But if he gave up, he knew he would face inevitable death. So Jack made a decision. He would play this game, but on his own terms. He would infiltrate his enemies' plans, find their weaknesses, and turn the tide from within. The entire planet was on the brink of destruction, but Jack would prove that humanity would not be easily defeated. Since the day he decided to play this game, Jack changed his approach. He was no longer a commando of the Alliance, but a soldier on the chessboard that the enemy was setting up. Every day that passed, he trained more and more, but he never forgot his goal: to find their weaknesses, expose their plans, and if possible, defeat them. Stepping out of the training chamber, Jack felt the power that his body had been transformed into. His hands could bend steel. His eyes could see through layers of materials that had previously only been possible with technological devices. But inside him, there was an indelible feeling: emptiness. He was no longer himself. It was the greatest fear he had to face. The following days passed in silence. Jack was assigned to participate in strategic meetings with alien commanders who had chosen him as the leader in the artificial evolution. Here, he learned part of a larger plan. As you can see, humans cannot survive without being controlled. We, the aliens, want not only to survive, but also to fundamentally change the universe. Humans are the key. The voice of the commanding being still echoed in Jack's mind, as if manipulating both his mind and body. One night, while attending a meeting with the alien commanders, Jack began to notice the contradictions in their plans. They talked about evolving humans, but in reality, these aliens planned to carry out a global invasion and turn humans into creatures completely dependent on them. Under the name of evolution, they were robbing humans of their freedom and identity. "We are not their tools," Jack thought to himself as he listened to their discussion. He knew that if he did not act now, the destruction of humanity would not be far away. So Jack set his plan into motion. Every day, he interacted with unlikely allies, experiments like himself, people who had been completely changed, but who still retained some of their humanity. He tried to convince them that if they didn't act, they would never be able to be themselves again. One night, when he was summoned to the central control room where the entire operation was being monitored, Jack saw his opportunity. The alien commanders were busy, not paying him any attention. He quietly hacked into the computer system, taking control of the control devices. A small smile crossed his lips as the locked doors began to open. This is the time, Jack thought. He had to destroy all the data on the evolution program and stop the experiments. Otherwise, millions of people on Earth would be changed and never return. As he approached the main control hub, a dark figure appeared before him. It was one of the commanding creatures, its gaze cold and challenging. "You think you can stop us?" Its cold voice echoed in his head. "I think I can," Jack replied, reaching out and touching the control panel. A powerful wave of energy erupted from his body, destroying every operating system. But as the final screen went dark, Jack felt an invisible current of energy flow through his body. He had awakened something within himself. This was not just the power of alien technology, but a soldier's instinct to fight. An instinct he had never realized was so strong. The commanding being looked at him, its eyes challenging. "Which side have you chosen?" it asked. "I choose humanity," Jack replied, his arms raised, ready to fight to the end. The great door of the central control room slammed shut, but it was not the end. Jack could clearly feel a change in his body, a power he had never felt before, from his fighting instincts being activated. The genetic changes had made him a stronger, smarter warrior, but not the one he had wanted. The command creature stood across from him, its eyes cold and hateful. It did not attack immediately. Instead, it regarded him with suspicion, as if assessing the change in his body. "You may think you have won, but you are only a part of our game," its voice echoed in Jack's head. "I do not want to be a part of your game," Jack replied, his hand tightening on the energy gun, the light from the muzzle flashing. "You will not take over this planet." But the command creature was not afraid. It reached out, and immediately, a series of aliens emerged from the surrounding doors, weapons in hand, cold light reflecting off them. Jack stood alone, but his heart was filled with determination. He began to move, each step gentle but sure. Part of him wanted to stay on principle, not to use all of his newfound strength, but his strong fighting instincts began to speak up. His body reacted faster, more accurately. Each blow was more powerful. A creature rushed towards him, but Jack dodged it easily and immediately fought back. He clearly felt the change in his body. Strong hands, agile speed, and the ability to sense every movement of his opponent. The aliens were defeated one by one, but they did not simply succumb. They continued to attack, each blow becoming more powerful. But Jack was used to the quick reflexes, his body like a perfect fighting machine. One of the commanding creatures stood at a distance, observing the battle. It began to give orders in a voice in its head. Use the ultimate move. Immediately, a powerful pillar of light shot down from the ceiling of the control room, heading straight for Jack. This pillar of light carried a terrifying power, capable of destroying everything within its range of influence. Impossible, Jack thought, and immediately, he focused all his strength into his body. He felt a stream of energy deep within him, like a hidden source of power. He didn't know where it came from, but he knew this was his only chance to survive. Jack reached out towards the pillar of light, and a powerful energy shot out from his hand, touching the pillar of light. The rays of light collided, creating a dazzling explosion in space. This light not only defeated the pillar of light, but also completely destroyed the control system of the alien base. The entire base shook violently. In the silence after the explosion, Jack stood there, panting, feeling the changes in his body. He had used all his strength to defeat his opponent, but he knew that it was only the first step. The aliens had not given up. The command creature still stood there, eyes full of hatred. "You may have defeated us here, but you cannot stop the invasion," it said, its cold voice echoing in Jack's head. "Don't be so complacent," Jack replied. "This war has only just begun. If you want to fight the humans, we will fight to the end." The command creature did not respond. It turned and began to move, the other aliens following suit. But Jack knew that today's victory was only part of a larger war. He had a lot of work to do. With his new power, Jack would not stop at defeating this base. He would bring all the information he gathered back to Earth, inform the Alliance, and prepare for a real war. This war was not just about survival. It was about freedom, about the future of humanity. Jack returns to Earth, but not as he was before. He's no longer a regular commando, but a warrior with new powers, powers he does not yet fully understand. But he knows one thing. If he does not act now, the aliens will not stop. They have invaded and are preparing for a global invasion. With all the information he has gathered from the alien base, Jack contacts the Alliance, telling them everything that has happened. He knows that, to deal with this threat, war is inevitable. "We cannot fight with conventional weapons," Jack tells the Alliance leaders. "The only way to stop them is to defeat them from within. They have invaded this planet for a long time, but now we have a chance to strike back." The Alliance has prepared everything from high-tech weapons to commando teams, but they still have no concrete solution to deal with the alien creatures. The whole world is preparing for a ruthless war. The night before the battle, Jack stands alone on the roof of a tall building, looking at the horizon where the war is about to break out. He knows this is a battle of survival, not only for himself, but for all of humanity. What he feels at that moment is not fear, but a strong belief. Humanity can win if they unite. "We will not give up," Jack said to himself. The next morning, the war began. Alien bases on Earth began to operate vigorously. Secret vault doors opened, releasing hordes of aliens with advanced weapons. They attacked major cities, destroying infrastructure and killing everything in their path. However, humanity was not so easily defeated. Thanks to the information Jack provided, the Alliance was prepared. Specialized commando teams were equipped with weapons, anti-alien technology was deployed, and major cities began to counterattack. Jack led an army of commandos, using tactics like no other. He not only fought aliens, but also had to face changes in his body. He clearly felt the power of the alien genes, but he did not let it control him. He was human, and that was the only thing he wanted to protect. The battle was fierce. The aliens are strong, but humanity has the strength of determination. Jack and his comrades are not just fighting for survival, but for the freedom of the entire planet. Bloody attacks, fierce hand-to-hand combat, but with each step, humanity is closer to victory. At the decisive moment, Jack and his commandos have found the enemy's main base, where all the invasion plans are controlled. He is confronted by one of the last commanding beings, the one who has led the invasion from the beginning. This being is unlike any he has faced before. It is stronger, faster, and its intelligence is superior. You cannot win. We have surpassed all creatures. We are prepared for every situation, the commanding being said, looking coldly at Jack. We are humans, Jack replied, his arms tensing, using all his strength to deal with it. We will never give up. The battle between Jack and the commanding creature continued endlessly, each blow like a blow, each passing second a life-and-death struggle. Finally, Jack used his own power, a combination of human and alien energy, to defeat the commanding creature. As soon as the commanding creature fell, the entire alien base began to collapse. Its systems were disabled, and the remaining creatures were no longer in command, lost their bearings, and were gradually destroyed. As the war ends, Earth begins to heal. The remnants of the alien invasion are erased, but Jack and the survivors understand that it is not the end. Humanity has won, but they have also lost much. Earth has been changed forever, and the secrets of alien power still live on in the bodies of Jack and the remaining soldiers. We fought to live, to be free, and we will continue to fight to protect all that we have. Jack says in his speech to the Alliance, looking out to the horizon, where new hopes are beginning to bloom. He's no longer the commando he once was. He is part of something bigger, a protector of life on this planet. And no matter what challenges lie ahead, he will always stand firm. The war is over, but life has only just begun.